I'm Ryan Humbert, lead singer and acoustic guitar for the Shootouts.
And I'm Emily Bates, backup vocals and very occasional acoustic guitar.
The Shootouts got their start when I met our guitarist Brian Poston, and we kind of bonded over our mutual love of real traditional classic country music. And for about a year, we talked about going out and just playing some of the music that we love, and not even doing it for any other reason than just for the love of it. Just, we didn't care if anybody showed up. We wanted to go out and play this music that we loved. And of course, if you know me at all, my background is if you're going to do something, anything worth doing is worth overdoing. And so, you know, we did it right, and we came up with the band name, and the wardrobe, and the whole 9 yards. And if we were going to do it, we wanted it to be authentic. And the very first show that we did, it felt like a bolt of lightning, you know, hit me. And I thought, man, this is what I was meant to be doing. This is taking all the things that I grew up with, all the music that I love, music that I listen to, and it's finally finding a home for that. And so Emily and I had been singing together for about, gosh, at that point it had been just shy of 15 years, I think. And I told Emily, I said, you know, this band is really, really something else. I'm like, this was meant to be a side project, and here we are. You know, a few years later. Why don't you tell them how you got into the band then?
Yes, we were already playing music together, and Ryan and Brian decided to do this kind of on the side, and I was like, have fun, boys. We got enough on our plates. And so his grandpa's 85th birthday party was coming up, and Grandpa had asked if the Shootouts would come and play the party, and so Ryan said, hey, it's Grandpa's party. Would you come and do it with us? Of course, I'll do anything for Grandpa. So I decided to do it and learned all the songs, and then it just, like you said, bolt of lightning, and we walked off the stage, and I was like, I get it now, I'm in. And that's basically everything we've done since then. You know, we kind of packed it in on the old original project and moved into original classic country music, and we've been at it for about 5.5 years now.
Yeah,
so.
about 5 years, a little over 5 years.
Hey, we're the Shootouts, coming to you live from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We're going to play songs from our new album, Bullseye, as well as a few of our older tracks, as well as a song by a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee. Here we go. I don't need assistance to make this call. I remember the number, remember it all. I'm sitting here staring at the telephone. I still hear your voice, clear as my own. My friends trying to tell me that I'm living a lie. I pull the shade down when you walk by. They say I can't forget you and I'm wasting my time. Couldn't be more wrong, and here's the reason why. I stayed home cause I need time for watching dust settle down on the floor. Check the clock every hour just to make sure I don't think about you anymore. And I don't think about you anymore. But I guess it's only human when you try to be kind. The words you really mean stay between the lines. You never really said why you had to go. I thought I'd better call you just so you know. I stayed home cause I need time for watching dust settle down on the floor. Check the clock every hour just to make sure I don't think about you anymore. I stayed home cause I need time for watching dust settle down on the floor. Check the clock every hour just to make sure I don't think about you anymore. I don't think about you anymore.
You know, the mission statement for the Shootouts has always been real traditional country music, and it's really what I grew up with. You know, my dad has a massive record collection, and when he was at work, I would go down and and root through his CDs and vinyl and everything. And, you know, that's where I discovered everything from Waylon Jennings to the Eagles to the Flying Burrito Brothers to Dan Fogelberg. I mean, all the stuff that he loved, it was all there, you know, at my fingertips. So there was that side of it. And then my mom, as well, you know, I was a kid and she was driving me to soccer practice and things of that nature. And she was a big fan of country radio at that time. And that was still when you could hear artists that we are influenced by today still. Artists like Marty Stuart, Dwight Yoakam, gosh, I mean, Patti Loveless. You could still hear the Mavericks and George Strait even. You know, you'd hear these artists on the radio. So those two things kind of mixed together for me is really where my musical influences came from. And then when I learned how to play guitar in high school, I would go over to my grandparents' house and I would play guitar for my grandpa to sing old country gospel songs. You know, and he loved Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson and all the classic stuff. So it was part of me, you know, and I think that everything that I had done before the Shootouts, just kind of singer-songwriter stuff, you know, I still love that music that I made, but I would kind of tiptoe into country and then I'd come back, you know. And it always felt right, you know, and I would just do these little side projects or have a song that had a little bit of twang to it, you know. And so, you know, when I finally said, okay, the Shootouts is really what I want to focus on, it finally felt like I was at home. I mean, it took me a little while to get there, and I'm so glad that I did. And I think it's probably better that I had the experiences I had before starting the Shootouts, and it really just plays to what I love, the music that I love. And same thing with Brian. I mean, you know, Brian, he's played everything from metal to jazz, but, you know, he posts videos on his you know, Facebook of himself playing old 1950s Western swing songs, you know, and we're both just so in love with that style of music. It just was such a natural fit, and it's I'm having the time of my life.
This next one's off the new album as well. This one's called Rattlesnake Whiskey. First day I ever felt alive. I started running before I could drive, with a trunk full of bottles and a twinkle in my eyes. Go ahead, baby, wipe your tears. We both know that the end is near. Could be tomorrow, could be today, but this rattlesnake whiskey's gonna kill me either way. Smoking all day and night. Mama kept a pistol and a watchful eye. We're doing God's work. Daddy told me selling moonshine all over 7 counties. So go ahead, baby, wipe your tears. We both know that the end is near. Could be tomorrow, could be today, but this rattlesnake whiskey's gonna kill me either way. Came searching that higher ground for Daddy's outfit on the outskirts of town. The shots rang out until the eve as the air hung thick with the smell of burning whiskey. So go ahead, baby, wipe your tears. We both know that the end is near. Looks like the devil has had to say, 'cause this rattlesnake whiskey finally put me in my grave. Put me in my grave. I had my first sip when I was 5. It was the first day I ever felt alive.
One of the songs that I brought to the table that has been really important to me is a song that I wrote for my mom. She passed away unexpectedly in November of 2018, right in front of my sister and I. And it's something that, sticks with you, of course. And I knew I wanted to honor her in song because she was really, a huge supporter of everything I've always done. And even when I called her and said, hey, I'm starting a country band, she was on board. And, we've played shows for 10,000 people and we've played shows for 2 people. And the shows where it's 2 people, it was probably my mom and her mom. So it was something that obviously was devastating, for my family. And I knew that I wanted to honor her somehow. But I didn't want to force it. I just felt like it needed to be the right time, and the song would come out when it was right. So I remember I was driving, and the chorus kind of came into my head for the song, and I went home and knocked it out in under 24 hours. I think the song was finished, and what you hear on the record as far as the arrangement of the song, everything, I mean, it all just kind of came out, and the band, of course, I think everybody understood it was kind of a sensitive subject matter, and everybody just brought their A game with it, and it's a song that, of course, is geared towards mothers, but I think you can kind of look at it with any family member. The song basically just says, don't take these relationships for granted in your life, because just like that, it could be over. The chorus of the song says, you don't get another mother when her time here is through. And then at the end of the song, I switched that up to say, her love will last forever until your time here is through. And so it's of course a very sentimental song, and it's one that is hard for us to perform sometimes. We have a rule that we're not allowed to look at each other during that song.
We've broken that rule a couple of times. It was unfortunate. There was a lot of crying. The first time my mom ever heard the song was here at the Rock Hall when we got to play last summer here, and I made the terrible mistake of making eye contact with her while we were singing the song, and then I finished the song through sobs. So but I think that's one of the really special things about the song is that, of course, Ryan wrote it with his mom in mind, but the way that it's written isn't so specific that you can't imagine your own mom. And so you can really, you put the people that you love in those words, and you can imagine it. And so I think it's something that's super emotional for a lot of people to hear, but it's a really special tune. And
This one's from the new album as well. This one's called Another Mother, and this is dedicated to my late mother, Judy Humbert.
Barefoot in the backyard, clothes damp on the line, waiting for the wind to sing, calling us inside. Standing by the back door, hand over her heart. She didn't say a single word, her smile said it all. She taught me all the good things that I need, except living in a world with just her memory. So always say I love you, call her every day, find the time to find the time to thank her in every way, 'cause it can all change in a minute. So count the blessings that she grew, 'cause you don't get another mother when her time here is through. There's quiet strength in quiet days when the kids have come and gone, staring in the mirror at the woman she'd become. 60 years had come and gone, but not without a fight. And even through the thick and thin, she knew she got it right. She taught me all the good things that I'd need. She's still watching over me when I see her in my dreams. So always say I love you, Call her every day. Find the time to thank her in every way. 'Cause it can all change in a minute. So count the blessings that she grew. 'Cause you don't get another mother when her time here is through. Well, come hell or high water, fire or brimstone, her heart shines like a diamond, stronger than she knows. And when the day had ended, her work was never done. 'Cause nothing stands in the way of a mother's love. So always say I love you. Call her every day. Find the time to thank her in every way. 'Cause it can all change in a minute. So count the blessings that she grew. 'Cause you don't get another mother when her time here is through. But her love will last forever until your time here is through.
The nice thing about the Shootouts is that, you know, there was a couple different writers in the band as well. So I contribute songs. Our longtime pedal steel player, our sideman Al Moss, also contributes songs. And Brian Poston, our guitarist, he writes these amazing instrumentals as well. And we all get together and kind of shape them. And so it's cool to have this collective voice, you know, that kind of showcases all of our influences from the country world. And so when we made this first record, you know, we kind of pulled together some songs from our original demo that we recorded here in Cleveland, as a matter of fact. Pulled some songs from that, and I think I had a few new ones, and Al had a few new ones, and we did a couple cover songs for that as well. And we went to New York City to make a country record, which is, you know, not
Naturally.
something... Yeah, naturally, right. And we got to work with Jim Campolongo and Luca Benedetti, and those guys, I mean, they were the real deal. They really brought... you know, an authenticity to what we were doing, in the sense that they could take the songs that we were presenting and they could say, this is perfect as is, or, you know what, why don't we try it like this, or why don't we try doing this with it? And we worked long distance, and that was in 2018. We worked long distance with demos and over the internet and things like that, and then we went out there and we cut the whole record in Brooklyn, a studio called The Bunker. We had a great time with those guys. And they're both world-class guitarists. I mean, Jim Campolongo is a member of the Little Willies with Norah Jones. And, I mean, you know, we were all excited. Brian was terrified. You know, as a guitarist, he was mortified. But they could not have been more complimentary and took him under their wing. And it was just a blast. It was a lot of fun to make that record. I think it was us trying to figure out still figure out our sound a little bit. There's a lot of Western swing on that record. There's a lot of classic Nashville with some string sections on some songs. There's a little bit of Bakersfield, you know, and gosh, I don't know. What, you have any recollection of that record, making that record?
Yeah, well, I think one of my favorite things about it is when we record, what we've really found we love is to go and immerse ourselves in it. And so we, you know, block out a couple of weeks of time and just go and completely focus on recording. And so being able to do that and not worry about, like, I got to mow the yard when I get home, or I got to worry about my other job, or all of these things, and just being able to kind of push the world aside and go in and focus on the music that you're making, I think really allowed us to just get such a better product out of it. And we had so much fun. We, you know, cut everything live together as much as we can, which really brings a lot of the energy. And then, you know, obviously go back in and, like everybody else, fix what we need to do and do our vocals and all of that. Because, you know, we want it to sound as great as possible, but that energy of us playing live is there. And that's so much fun for us to be able to do all of it together as a team and really immerse ourselves.
Between the last record and the new record, I mean, there's some overdubs, of course, but not a ton. You know, I mean, it really does sound like what you're going to get when you come to a Shootouts live show, which is fun. A fun story, too. I remember when we were cutting Quick Draw, we had plans to cut 13 songs for the record. And the producers were kind of terrified because we only had 3 days of basic tracking. And they thought,
That's aggressive.
Yeah, they never thought we would get it done. They thought that's too many songs. We're going to end up cutting songs, whatever. By the end of the second day, we had 12 of the 13 songs cut. And so, we were able to kind of go in the next day, and we ended up cutting a Christmas song just for fun. And we cut a cover of an old, who did that song? An old obscure murder ballad. I mean, just had some fun the next day because we had the extra time. And this record was kind of the same way. The new one, Quick Draw, was the same way. We really, everybody brought their A game, and we were able to knock it out pretty quickly. This next song is from our debut album, Quick Draw, and this one is called Cleanin' House.
Into my kitchen closet, reaching for my broom. I thought I ought to do something to straighten up my room. I summoned up some courage right down to my last ounce. If it up and kills me, I'm gonna clean this house. Forsaken like a stranger in a place I call my home. I find a sad reminder in everything I own. The bed won't let me sleep at night. Lied to by your phone. Can't believe our front door ever let you go. So I'm cleaning house, stir up the dirt. Cleaning house, sweep up the hurt. Cleaning house, pick up the parts of this broken heart. Cleaning house, there's dust and gloom. Cleaning house in every room. Mess that's left, I'm throwing out. There's work to do when I'm cleaning house. New. And as the flames grew colder, it reminded me of you. I swept those cheating footprints you tracked across the floor. When this house is spotless, I won't need you anymore. So I'm cleaning house, stir up the dirt. Cleaning house, sweep up the hurt. Cleaning house, pick up the parts of this broken heart. Cleaning house, there's dust and gloom. Cleaning house in every room. Mess that's left, I'm throwing out. There's work to do when I'm cleaning house. Cleaning house, stir up the dirt. Cleaning house, sweep up the hurt. Cleaning house, pick up the parts of this broken heart. Cleaning house, there's dust and gloom. Cleaning house in every room. Mess that's left, I'm throwing out. There's work to do when I'm cleaning house. If I could make my living going fishing, then I would make my living with a line and pole. Put food on the table, pay the money to the landlord, buy some working clothes. This ain't making money, making love, and raise the factory. If I could pay all my bills with this guitar, then I'd pay some bills playing rock and roll. Put food on the table, pay the money to the landlord, buy some working clothes. This ain't making money, making love, and raise the factory. Well, if I could, then I would. Make money doing something that I love. Make my lucky stars above. If I could just get by loving you, Tim, then I'd just get by making love to you. Put food on the table, pay the money to the landlord, buy some working clothes. This ain't making money, making love, raise the factory. Come on, Ryan. Well, if I could, then I would, then I money doing something that I love. They were lucky stars above if I could just get by loving you, Tim. That I just get by making love to you. Put food on the table, pay the money to the landlord, buy some working clothes, the same, making money, making love, like a raise the factory. We'll put food on the table, pay the money to the landlord, buy some working clothes, the same, making money, making love, like I'm paying the factory.
So with the new record Bullseye, we were thrilled to get to work with Chuck Mead, former lead singer of BR549, and clearly one of our big influences. When we first started the band, I think we learned 3 or 4 BR549 songs right off the bat. And I have a radio show called the Americana Roundup every Sunday morning, and I do interviews from time to time with different folks. And Chuck Mead, Jason Ringenberg, and Jim Lauderdale were coming through town. And so they did a guitar pool for my radio show, which was a blast. I interviewed them and talked to Chuck, and I gave him a copy of Quick Draw, and we promised to stay in touch. And ran into him a month later in Nashville, and we talked for a little while. And I said, hey, any chance you'd maybe want to produce a record for us? And he said, I think I would. And that was it. I mean, I think that Chuck really understood what we stand for. It's really what BR549 was doing, and a lot of those contemporaries of those guys in that time period, and it's still what Chuck's doing. Chuck is still out there waving that flag for real country music, and I think he just got it. I think he knew what we wanted to do and what we wanted to say.
Real talk is cheap, and I ain't buying. What you're putting down ain't worth a dime, 'cause I'm broke. Hurt, hot, broke. Actions speak like words never will. Say you love me, but only until I'm broke. Hurt, hot, broke. You call me golden boy when you know what it means. Stop digging me when my pockets ran clean. I'm broke. Hurt, hot, broke. You said our love had a long, harsh time. Under your breath was always I be mine, and I'm broke. When I heard you liked it hot in the summer, you had me hunting down sunny days. Then you said you liked the sound of thunder, had me praying for the pouring rain. When I don't pick up the phone or answer the door, you come around here and holler, no, no more, I'm broke. Hurt, hot, broke. And if I do, or even if I don't, never love again, well, I pray I won't get broke. And if I do, or even if I don't, never love again, well, I pray I won't get broke. Hurt, hot, broke. Hurt, hot, broke. Hurt, hot, broke.
It's been so fun to take the Shootouts out and play for people. I mean, it's really what we love doing the most, and we love making records, of course, because that is its own thing, and it's so much fun. But really, we're a live band. I mean, we always have been. It's how we started, was just going out and playing a ton. And so the fun thing is seeing people react to a band that looks like us and sounds like us in the year 2021. There's not a lot of bands doing real traditional country music out there, and we also want to honor the legacy of country music, and so it's why we dress like we do at each show, and to kind of harken back to the days of Porter Wagner and Dolly Parton and all those guys that would you're going on stage, you dress for the job you want, and so we don't quite have that budget yet for like the full nudie suits. We're working on it. But I think there's something to be said for it, because I think it kind of turns people's heads a little bit, and they're kind of like, get a look at these guys, and then hopefully we can back it up with the stage show. And the biggest compliment that we get is people coming up to us and saying, I don't really like country music, but I like you guys. And we're like, well, I mean, this is about as country as it gets.
Yeah.
So I really think that a lot of people, and I wonder if you agree with this, I think that a lot of people don't know that they like country music.
Oh, completely.
Modern country radio is so different from traditional country. One of my friends' mom, she said, "Oh, I hate country music." And I said, "Okay, well, who's your favorite band?" She was the Eagles. I'm like, well, they're a country band. Essentially, they kind of were a country band. So, country, everything, even here at the Rock Hall, you look at a lot of the artists. I mean, rock and roll came from the blues and it came from country, right? And so, I think that a lot of people don't even necessarily know that they might like country music.
Yeah. Well, and I think in today's music, there's so much crossover in genres, and so little that like fits neatly into boxes, which is really cool. But like Ryan said, it means that a lot of people don't understand that like a lot of the influences that are out there right now come from traditional country music, and so it's fun to kind of draw that line back for them. And for us, when we go on stage, we have the full get up, and it kind of allows us to like step into the job that we're getting ready to do. And then Ryan and I have played together now for going on 18 years, and so we have a great stage chemistry, and we kind of know where the other one's going, and we can follow each other, and we just have so much fun playing together. We have such a great group of musicians on stage, and the most fun is when we impress each other, because we've been playing together for so long that you kind of think that can't happen, and then Poston will just be like going nuts on the guitar, and you're like, oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's really fun when we can come off stage and be like, my God, you really hit it tonight.
Yeah. There are shows when her and I will look at each
awesome.
other when Brian's taking a solo, and we'll just laugh.
Yeah.
And we're like, this kid still blows us away,
Yeah.
So.
It's just such a talented crew all around.
It's a lot of fun.
It's really it's a privilege to be on stage with everybody, and we have a ton of fun when we travel together. It's like a little family, so of course we get on each other's nerves, but we have a great time. We eat a lot of awesome food. We're like a band full of foodies, so
we're there's always
I was figuring out the next meal.
The next town, we always have the meals figured out before we get there.
This song is also from our new album, Bullseye. This is the single. This is called Everything I Know. I may cheat and I may lie. I may not make it home tonight with you gone. fog on my bathroom mirror. This morning I traced better days, and as the glass cleared, my reflection of it, better days had faded away. And when I poured cream in my coffee, it looks just like clouds in the sky, as they lose their shape soon after I taste. It's just like the years floating by, and I've forgotten to plan for the future, forgotten to learn from the past. I remember these words that you said when you left. I guess I forgot to forget. Well, I guess I forgot to forget. So I'm sending to you this lost love song, delivered in 3/4 time. Well, it's right and it's wrong, and it's a little too long, but I find relief in the right. And I've forgotten to plan for the future, forgotten to learn from the past. But I remember these words that you said when you left. You said in time for good. But I've forgotten to plan for the future, forgotten to learn from the past. But I remember these words that you said when you left. I guess I forgot to forget. Well, I guess I forgot to forget.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of kind of what we tried to do with California to Ohio from Quick Draw. That song was about my grandpa, and a true story. He hitchhiked from Camp Pendleton, California, where he was stationed as a Marine, back here to Hartville, Ohio, to see my grandma and their newborn baby daughter. And that's the type of story you don't hear much of anymore, and it just felt like a song. And so I wrote that with Kim Ritchie in Nashville, and it was kind of the same vibe where I wanted it to obviously tell a specific story, but I also wanted people to be able to put themselves into it. And from I think the very first time we played California to Ohio, people came up and said, you know, boy, my boyfriend was in the Marines or the Army, or my grandpa has a story like this, or something like that. And I think it was important to be able to make it so that people could put themselves into that song, because I think whether it be Another Mother or California to Ohio, I mean, those are the type of songs that I think in some way almost anybody can relate to.
Well, and I think it really harkens back to the tradition in country music of telling a story.
Right.
And, you know, really drawing that imagery and kind of like writing a movie basically in your head.
Right.
And so I think that's another neat thing that you've brought forth into the band here.
Thank you. This next song is based on a true story. In February of 1953, my grandpa, Ron Humbert, hitchhiked from Camp Pendleton, California, all the way back to Hartville, Ohio, to see my grandma and their newborn baby daughter, my Aunt Denise. They were married for just shy of 65 years before we tragically lost my grandpa in October of 2016. This song tells his story of hitchhiking across country, and tonight, as is every night, this is for Grandpa, wherever he may be. This is called California to Ohio.
February of 53, dress blues on a 10-day leave. Her picture in my hand, thumbing my way through South Cheyenne. Route 30 and heading east, with a stranger next to me. 1,300 miles till I see my baby smile. Waking up in the passenger seat of a 49 Mercury, Johnny Ray on the radio, counting streets as it starts to snow, staring into the morning sun, her name on the tip of my tongue. 2 days down, just one more day till I see my baby's face. Well, out across the Mississippi as the daylight fades. Hold on, honey, I'm on my way from California to Ohio. I'm gonna get there. Break, steal, and borrow. Back to the one I love. Back to the place I know. From California back to Ohio. Gray skies and tail lights, state lines and motel signs, stars and clouds to pass the time, while her heart serves as my guide. It's just the start of a life well lived, a beautiful wife, 4 small kids, the love that lives in her blue eyes. I'll hold close until I die. Well, out across the Mississippi as the daylight fades. Hold on, honey, I'm on my way. From California to Ohio, I'm gonna get there. Break, steal, and borrow. Back to the one I love. Back to the place I know. From California back to Ohio. From California to Ohio, I'm gonna get there. Break, steal, and borrow. Back to the one I love. Back to the place I know. From California back to Ohio. Well, out across the Mississippi as the daylight fades.
So last year we put out a little digital 45 of the Shootouts doing some cover songs, and you know you might expect us to go with a country artist, but we kind of wanted to take songs that we love that were outside of the country genre and put our own mark on them. And I'm a firm believer that a good song is a good song, and if it's sturdy, you know, at the bones, you can decorate it in a lot of different ways, and it's still a good song. And that doesn't always hold true. There's some pretty terrible covers out there, and I hope ours aren't in that category. But we took ELO's "Don't Bring Me Down," and we said, what would it sound like if it were recorded in Bakersfield in the 60s or 70s? And then we took Whitney Houston's "I Want to Dance with Somebody," which Brian Poston and I were driving to Nashville, and we were just scrolling through, you know, song after song and trying to find something that would make a good Shootouts cover. And we heard that song, and I said, what if we just took it down to, like, you know, bare bones and made it sound like something Patsy Cline would have done, or made it sound like some of the Countrypolitan stuff that they were doing back in that time. And it just kind of worked, you know. So we recorded those in Nashville with Jordan Lenning and Skylar Wilson, 2 great young producers down there. And we had a blast. We recorded both of those. Everything you hear on those songs, we recorded in one day in a studio in Nashville as we were passing through. So that was pretty fun. And I know that very young Emily was happy about...
Oh boy, I grew up listening to Whitney Houston. I wanted to be Whitney Houston, and so like 5-year-old Emily gets a little delighted every time we get to do that song.
Yeah.
It makes me so happy.
So that was kind of our way to kind of show you know, we love country music. We still have a, you know, rock and roll in our heart, of course. And so we're, you know, thrilled to be able to perform that song here tonight as well. So.
We thought we would do a song for you tonight by a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee. One of our favorites. This one was written by Mr. Jeff Lynne. This is ELO's Don't Bring Me Down.
You got me running, going out of my mind. You got me thinking that I'm wasting my time. Don't bring me down. Oh, now, baby, don't bring me down. Well, I'll tell you once more before I get off the phone. Don't bring me down. You wanna stay out with your fancy friend? I'm telling you it's gonna be the end. Don't bring me down. Oh, now, baby, don't bring me down. Well, I'll tell you once more before I get off the phone. Don't bring me down.
Don't bring me down. Please, don't bring me down. Please, don't bring me down. Please.
Well, don't bring me down. You're always talking about those crazy nights. One of these days you're gonna get it right. Don't bring me down. Oh, don't bring me down. Well, I'll tell you once more before I get off the phone. Don't bring me down.
Don't bring me down. Please, don't bring me down. Please, don't bring me down. Please.
Well, don't bring me down. You're looking good just like a snake in the grass. One of these days you're gonna break your glass. Don't bring me down. No, 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 no. I'll tell you once more before I get off the phone. Don't bring me down. Well, I'll tell you once more before I get off the phone. Don't bring me down.
As you know, as Emily mentioned earlier, it's such a talented group of guys that we're fortunate enough to you know be a part of, and Dylan Gomez, Ryan McDermott is our rhythm section. Those guys are so solid, just good guys. Dylan shows up to every show with the smallest drum kit I've ever seen, and he's just rock solid. I mean, he's a lot of fun to play with. I think that in the last 20 years of being a musician, he's probably one of my favorite drummers I've ever played with. He's just so solid. He's in the pocket, no frills, and that's really what you need for country music. You know, you can't have somebody that's too flashy when you're playing, you know, traditional country. And Ryan McDermott came to the band through Dylan. They were friends, and Ryan's a fantastic guitarist, but he knew we needed a bass player. He also plays bass, and we met each other numerous times. I think he did some separate event with us before the Shootouts, and we knew of each other. Dylan recommended him, and he just fell right in. It was a perfect fit. And then, of course, there's Brian Poston, who, I mean, if you've seen him play, I mean, there's not much that can be said other than it's really pretty phenomenal to watch. Out of all the different guitarists I've played with, you know, either here in Ohio or some of the stuff we've done in studio, I mean, he's one of the best. I mean, he's really just a real student of the guitar. And he's constantly learning, constantly playing, constantly teaching himself, you know, new things on the guitar, and it's pretty inspiring to see that. So when we were getting ready to do Quick Draw, I told him, I said, I really would like to have an instrumental, you know, on the record that speaks to what what you love and what you bring to the table here as a guitarist, a chance to kind of showcase him. And so I remember asking him to write a song, and it was like 2 days later he sent me a fully finished demo that he recorded himself of Quick Draw. It was done. It was final, and I was blown away. And so the band, we just learned his demo, and he had the whole thing arranged. We learned it, and we recut it as a band for Quick Draw. But that was it. And as I told him, I said, well, what do you want to call the song? And he thought about it for a day or so, and he came back and he said, I want to call it Quick Draw. And I said, well, there's our album title. And so I kind of felt then like we maybe, kind of started something with that. So for the new record, I said, okay, you got to write another instrumental, and you got to come up with a title for it, and see what happens. So he same thing, wrote a song. A few days later, sent me a demo that was pretty close to finished, and he said, I'm going to call this one Bullseye. And I said, well, there's the album title. So, it's hard to say how long we can keep that riding, but
Hey, now you got to try and good luck.
well, what's funny? Now that some folks know that that's kind of what we've done, we've actually had people suggest album titles for future albums. A buddy of mine just a few weeks ago recommended an album title for the next one, and I said, well, we'll store that one for the next record. So, yeah, it's really a lot of fun playing with these guys, and of course, getting to sing with Miss Bates has been one of the pleasures of my life.
This next song is the title track to the album. I want to use this opportunity to introduce these guys here. Over here on the bass guitar, Mr. Ryan McDermott. Back here on the drums, Dylan Gomez. And the person who wrote this song right over here on the lead guitar, Mr. Brian Poston. This is called Bullseye.
So, being from the Rust Belt, here in northeastern Ohio, of course, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame being in our backyard is not something that we take lightly. We've been fortunate enough to do numerous events over the years. Even before the Shootouts started, we did Bob Dylan songs here for Bob Dylan's 75th birthday. We did some Roy Orbison covers when he was the artist that was being honored for the American Music Masters one year. And gosh, anytime we get the call or we get a chance to come and do something up here, being the big music nerds that we are, we just love it. And of course, we're a country band, we're a honky-tonk band, and we're influenced by every bit of that genre. But we're all still influenced by everything that is in this hall here, and so many artists. You look around, even this room, Mahalia Jackson, Ray Charles, Jerry Lee Lewis. I mean, these are people that straddled that line between rock and roll and country, and so many others. You know, I'm a huge Tom Petty fan, or as we talked earlier, a huge fan of ELO or Linda Ronstadt, or I mean, so many different things. And I think that, you know, some of that's going to seep out in what we do, of course, and some of Northeastern Ohio is going to seep out in what we do. And, you know, we're just thrilled that we've been able to have a relationship with the Rock Hall, and that you guys have embraced a country band as well. Like, so it's been a real pleasure to get to know everybody here and work with everybody and get to bring the Shootouts up here every once in a while.
We've been the Shootouts. I want to say thanks to everybody here at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We love you guys so much. Thanks for having us. This is the final song of the set here, and this is on the new album. This is called Saturday Night Town.
Working for a dollar, and I try to make it last. Waiting for the weekend is to buy a tank of gas. Wheels hit the ground, there's trouble to be found. We will never live it down, living in the Saturday night town. Johnny hit the throttle and Benny brought the shot. And his sister Susie is looking for good times. Gonna live it up until we hit the ground. 'Cause we'll never live it down, living in the Saturday night town. Where we're howling at the moon, we're shooting out the lights. Always someone downtown who's looking for a fight. Reverend Johnson's head, everything will be okay. Since every Sunday morning we hit our knees and pray. Dancing in the alley, doors are open wide. Sheriff's buying rounds, but just don't tell his wife. When she starts to call, nobody make a sound. You'll never live it down, living in a Saturday night town. Mr. Brian Poston over here. Where we're howling at the moon, we're shooting out the lights. Always someone downtown who's looking for a fight. Reverend Johnson's head, everything will be okay. Since every Sunday morning we hit our knees and pray. Every other day we're rolling up the streets. Saturdays are made for ballrooms and back seats. You don't have to worry, oh, we're gonna teach you how. 'Cause you'll never live it down, living in a Saturday night town. There's always trouble to be found, living in a Saturday night town. On the lead guitar, Mr. Brian Poston. On the bass guitar, Mr. Ryan McDermott. Mr. Dylan Gomez on the drums, my longtime